So I was speaking to a friend of mine a couple weeks ago, and she was telling me what she's been up to lately. And she has been part of a very exciting journey because her company has been growing. They were a small business, they're now scaling and they're sort of a mid-size operation. And she was talking about all the things that she's taken on, all the responsibilities she's had. And she had reached out to me because she thought that there was some process improvement opportunities. She was interested in some training along the Lean and Six Sigma lines. And so she was reaching out to me because she knew I knew about that. And so, of course, we started talking about what's actually going on in the company. And she mentioned they were having a lot of errors coming out of their shipping process, just that overall section where they order and then ship to the customer. And I started asking, well, do you have a process in place to detect when these things happen and then follow up on them to make sure that you figure out where they came from and make sure that those errors don't happen again? And she said, well, I kind of am the process. Whenever something goes wrong, it falls to me to figure it out. And I, didn't want to alarm her or come across as really critical, but I have to say that her saying that I am the process, it was an alarm bell in my head. And I'll tell you why. When you centralize problem solving responsibility on one person, especially in a growing company where a growing amount of processes and complexity and scale means you're going to have a lot of errors during that growth point. Doesn't always happen that way, of course, but it often does, where kinks are getting worked out of processes. People are learning as they go. There's a growth curve there for the whole company. And the result is often that things are bumpy in the beginning. And you need those guide rails, which is how I would think of a problem-solving process, some kind of detection, analysis, put into place a solution, and then communicate that solution to everyone around you. Whatever that solution looks like, it could be very structured and formal. I know I used to use 8D back in the day when I worked in automotive manufacturing. That was kind of a Ford thing. Could be something a lot simpler, like just a plan, do, check, act cycle. So what I wanted to say, though, around this idea of a process being a person is that this is probably going to get too heavy for one person very quickly, and you're going to burn out your best people, because this is sometimes what happens. The most competent people are the ones you keep putting more responsibility on because they can handle it and they want to handle it. So just be mindful of that. There are also longer term reasons, cultural reasons, as well as practical reasons for you wanting to have better support for solving problems than just on one person. First of all, the obvious thing is that if that person leaves, there goes your problem solving capacity, and you're going to be very vulnerable in your organization to problems happening. They could really disrupt and have a terrible effect on your ability to deliver to your customers or do whatever result needs to happen in your business. And the other one is that you can wind up with this idea that it's that person's job to make sure that things happen properly. So there will be a lack of responsibility of everyone around, because as soon as a problem happens, oh, well, not my problem. Do you see what I'm saying? That ownership can really be eroded if you don't have a process that everyone can buy into and everyone can participate in. So whether it's an 8-step, really complex, deep problem-solving process, or whether it's a simpler 3 or 4-step Deming cycle, the plan, do, check, act thing, you absolutely want to have that involved, and you want to make sure that everyone in the company understands responsibility-wise, hey, it's everybody's job. We do have our own areas, we do have our own processes that we actually own and are, directly responsible for. We all need to collectively own these results. Otherwise, we're going to hold up our hands as soon as something goes wrong, and chances are our results are gonna suffer because things can fall through the cracks so easily when you've got a person instead of a process to solve your problems. So there you go. That's my little announcement for the morning. Don't rely on one person to be the keeper of quality and problem solving in your organization. Make sure you weave it into the fabric and make sure everyone knows that they're responsible for taking it on. Thank you.